You got questions? Well, let me answer them for you. Hey guys, this is AniMat, and welcome to the first ever episode of Q&A with AniMat, where I will dedicate this entire show to just answering questions from you. Yes, you can write me any question, whether it be in YouTube comments or on social media or whatever, and I will go and pick some of the best questions and go and answer them right over here. Now, keep in mind, this is just the pilot episode. This is the first episode. So it would actually be very helpful if you guys would let me know what you think about the show and see if you want to see more and you want me to go and answer more questions for you guys. So with all that said, we might as well go ahead and get things started and start with the first one that I have right over here. And this one is going to be from Shelby Dixon, who actually has a question that will go into the very beginning, since why not make the first question be about the start of it all? So, Shelby asks, how and why did you start your YouTube channel, and what started your love for animation? Well, I would say what started my YouTube channel, honestly, it just began as a whole summer project, where in the late 2000s, I was starting to really enjoy YouTube videos from the Angry Video Game Nerd and the Nostalgia Critic. And from there, it kind of inspired me to be my own reviewer. I remember I kind of had my own collection of ideas of what kind of a review show that I wanted to do, or what kind of YouTube videos or just internet videos in general that I want to go and put out. Originally, I did think about doing a video game show in the veins of the Angry Video Game Nerd, but that whole thing is kind of like its own genre of its own, of people on the internet just trying to copy the Angry Video Game Nerd formula, so I kind of distanced myself from that. And plus the fact that there was a lot of technical aspects I wanted to include in there, like camera work, and it would require a lot of editing, and also game capturing footages, and it would be entirely complicated, especially at the very beginning, because keep in mind, when I started all this, I had zero experience on anything. Zero experience on writing, zero experience on editing, zero experience on recording. I just started fresh. But there was one other side project that I wanted to do where it was a lot like my own version of Cinemassacre's Monster Madness, but instead of looking into horror films and Godzilla films, I decided to go and look into Disney movies. And from there came the origin of Animation Look Back. And throughout 2009, it was a whole summer project of its own, especially just writing it. And then from there, I decided to go and upload them, and I guess one thing led to another, and here I am right now. So that's pretty much the whole origin of my YouTube channel and how I started everything, and especially how I just began my YouTube channel. I just decided that since I was so inspired by some people like James Rolfe and Doug Walker, I decided to go and create some videos of my own. And as for my love for animation, interestingly enough, I didn't begin as an animation lover. Although I was a fan of watching animated films, my main forte was really, I was a big Disney fan, especially when it comes to their movies, their theme park rides, and their cartoons. So I was a huge fan of that, and I was starting to learn about a lot of the behind-the-scenes facts. I loved watching a lot of the behind-the-scenes bonus features on DVDs, and that's where really my love for Disney accumulated, especially after going to several trips to Disney World and stuff. And then, I guess afterwards, when I was making my videos, I guess I wanted to go and expand my knowledge, not just on Disney, but to look into other aspects of animated features as well. So, I guess that's the whole thing with where my love for animation came from. It started out as my love for Disney, and I decided to go expand my knowledge onto the medium of animation and just go from there. So that's pretty much my whole origin story and how I ended up as AniMat in the first place. Okay, so our next question is going to be coming from Eli Copperman, and he asks, what Disney movie do you wish was made the most? Their abandoned Chanticleer project or Kingdom of the Sun? Oh, that's actually pretty interesting. For those of you who don't know, Disney originally wanted to make a Chanticleer movie, and that was way back like in the 50s and the 60s, and there was already a lot of concept art developed by one of the 9 old men, Mark Davis. Meanwhile, Kingdom of the Sun, that was a project that they wanted to develop back during the late 90s, I believe. And it pretty much went into an entirely different section in its production, where it started out as one project, but then one thing led to another, and ultimately it became The Emperor's New Groove. And as for the question, I would say I would much rather want to see the Chanticleer project come to life, because that one actually seems a lot more fascinating, and especially in terms of the stuff that we already have right now. What does seem to be more fascinating with me in terms of the Chanticleer project is more because it has an original story. It has a lot more creative potential in terms of what they can do with it. Now, I know technically Disney did take a lot of the concept arts by Mark Davis, and they would recycle them for projects such as Splash Mountain and America Sings, but with the Chanticleer project, at least you do have a lot more potential to be a lot more creative, to create something truly unique and original out of it, especially with Disney right now, considering how they really are going strong with both recreating fairy tales in their own image and also telling contemporary stories like Wreck-It Ralph and Zootopia. I'm sure they can nail a beautiful looking Chanticleer film, especially if they could take those Mark Davis designs and translate that, rather it be like in a beautiful hand-drawn animated feature, if they decide to return to that, or even like computer animation, it would still look phenomenal. Now, the reason why I take that over Kingdom of the Sun in that aspect is more because with the Kingdom of the Sun, that's just an Aztec-themed Prince and the Pauper story. And with Disney, they literally already done a Prince of the Pauper story with Mickey Mouse. It was an animated short that aired before The Rescuers Down Under, so I don't really see that much of a point why Disney really needs another Prince and the Pauper story. So I don't really see why we need to go back, especially the fact that right now we already have the Aztec-themed movie with The Emperor's New Groove, and while that didn't really turn out all that great at first, it later became such a huge cult phenomenon. Like, Cusco pretty much got his cult status, like, already on top years later, so Cusco just came in barging to be among the Disney classics, like...
Boom, baby!
So, that's the thing, is that with Chanticleer, there's a lot more creative possibilities, more so than just Prince of the Pauper. Now, I'm not saying that with Kingdom of the Sun, there isn't anything interesting going on. There are some fascinating ideas that came out of it, especially with the Andreas Deja animation that he did for Yzma. But honestly, I would rather see something more original. So that's why I'm going with the Chanticleer project. Okay, so our next one that we got here is going to be coming from Mr. Insensitive. And Mr. Insensitive asks, do you think at some point an animated film might win an Oscar for Best Pictures? There have been a few that have been nominated but never won. Is it possible that it could happen? For me, I would actually say that one day, yes, it will happen. Now, the question of rather when it will happen, I'm honestly not sure, but I am guaranteed, I'm like certain that one day we will see an animated feature win Best Picture, or maybe we might not see it. Like, it might not actually happen in our lifetime. Maybe it'll happen when everybody watching this will end up dying at some point, but I'm sure it'll happen either like in the next few years or in a few hundred years. But there's got to be at one point when an animated feature will come in that will be so amazing, so phenomenal and mind-blowing, like it really amazed audiences all over the world that it even got the Academy's attention to go and get Best Picture. So I would pretty much say yes, but we don't know. We'll just have to wait and see when that will happen. and what will be that animated film that will blow everyone's minds to the point that it will actually get that Best Picture Oscar. Okay, so our next question is going to be coming from Aaron, Rick, Kine, and Koo. And the four, well, actually more just Aaron and the other Kirby characters ask, AniMat, have you seen DeviantART cringe before? You know, like some cringy fan art, including bad fan art of The Loud House, Rick and Morty, My Little Pony, etc., and all that kind of stuff. Well, technically yes, and honestly I do try to distance myself from it, not necessarily because of the art itself, but it's more the people behind the art that is really questionable and I want to take a step back from. Now, I'm not saying that DeviantArt in general is a terrible place and you shouldn't go there. It's kind of like the Shadowlands or something like that. I'm not saying that at all. I know that there are a lot of great people and great communities that have grown in DeviantArt. But when there are bad people in DeviantArt, they can get really, really nasty. Like, they can develop a serious toxic environment. And not just because of the kind of art that they're making, but a lot of bad fans of, like, cartoon shows would be there. Like, you'll find a lot of the bad people of the cartoon community that would actually be in there, to the point that they don't want to be questioned about their opinions. They have the mentality of, you're either with us or against us. And if you mess with them, if you try to confront them with something that they have an opinion and you try to counter it, oh, they will be very savage with you. Like, there was actually at one point when there were a few DeviantArt people from the cartoon community. They would actually, like, smack talk me, and I tried talking back. I tried to reason with them and try to pick a few flaws with their well, not really criticisms, but with their insults and bashing at me and all the time, and, you know, try to reason with them with all that kind of stuff. And it just ended up making things worse. Like, they got mad to the point where they flat out attacked me, they flat out harassed me, not just on DeviantArt, but, like, it exploded even on social media, where they thought that it was a good idea that since I decided to go stand up to bullies who were pretty much talking crap on me on DeviantArt, they decided to go attack me on social media. And the whole thing pretty much exploded from there with false accusations and all that kind of stuff. Like, they tried to demonize me because I tried to challenge their thoughts regarding an opinion they have towards me. So that's pretty much the price that you would have to pay to standing up to bullies nowadays, is that often when you stand up to bullies, they'll try to attack you even more, to the point that they wish you dead. But yeah, that's kind of the thing. Again, not saying that with DeviantArt it's a bad place. I don't judge their art at all. And again, there's a lot of great artists, there's a lot of great people, and a lot of great communities. But when they can be bad, they can be very toxic. So for me, don't judge the art. It's more judge the people behind the art, because they are not the kind of people that want to hear opinions other than their own, and they will attack anybody who will criticize them. Except for Mr. Enter for some reason, because somehow with those people, they would look past at all the drama they caused, or all the drama he caused, and they would praise him like an animation, as an animation god for some reason or another. Okay, so the next question is actually going to be from My Lady 180. And My Lady asks, you seem to really be into acting and singing. Are you a theater guy? And if yes, what are your favorite shows you did? And do you still do them? Well, to be very honest, that would actually be a yes. In fact, throughout my youth and throughout my teenage years, I actually did theater for about more than 10 years, I would say. I loved theater. Acting was just very fun, and I really have grown into the theater community, and I've made a lot of great friends there, and some of which are still my friends to this day. And especially just growing my confidence just to get on stage and to act out, and also to sing, to really kind of grow my interest as a performer and to get into a future in the creative arts. It definitely stemmed from there, and I guess even to this day, there's still a part of me that still wants to do some acting, that still wants to do some singing, and I guess that's also part of the reason why I still make videos to this day. Even though I don't do theater nowadays, I kind of retired that a few years ago, making videos does give me an excuse to go and actually do some acting of my own, or even do some singing, actually, where there are a few videos that I've done where I decided to bring out my singing chops. But I am not gonna lie, and I will say, there are some times when I do miss the theater, and there are moments when I do contemplate maybe if I should go back into theater and maybe, like, you know, sharpen up my acting skills or my singing skills, because it does happen when there are some times I would question myself if I'm not a good singer or if I'm not a good actor, and if I should, you know, retrain myself to actually be good again. But then again, that would actually be more just me being self-doubtful of myself and stuff like that. So overall, I would say yes, I am definitely a theater person at heart. And also, you did ask the other question about my favorite shows that I've done. I've honestly done a whole lot of them, but the ones that really did stand out, my first play that I actually did, and I ended up doing a few times, was actually Grease, where in total, like, throughout my life, I've done several characters. Like, I did Duty, I did Kaneki, and also, of course, I ended up playing Danny, where, yes, I did sing some of the songs. And also, there was also a King Arthur play that we've done that was actually really interesting, because the script itself, it was a mixture of both the 1980 Excalibur movie, I think it was 1980, I'll probably correct myself if that's not the case. So yeah, it was a mixture of the Excalibur movie and the 1992 Merlin movie, so it's pretty much a blend of those two elements to make this King Arthur play, and that was really a lot of fun, and I ended up doing that one several times. That was probably the one that I've done the most, and probably the most successful play that I've done in my community theater, and I ended up playing several roles there throughout my life. I did Gawain, I think I did Galahad, probably not. I know I did Gawain, I did King Uther, I did King Arthur, I did Merlin, and I did Mordred, King Arthur's son. So I did a lot of roles, but yeah, that King Arthur is probably the one that did stand out for me in terms of the plays that I have done. Alright, so the next one is going to be from Laura Jones, and Laura asks, would you include Zootopia in your top 10 favorite films from Walt Disney Animation Studios now? If so, where would you place it? Very good question, actually. I don't know where specifically that I would put it, but I know for a fact that nowadays I totally would, because Zootopia was just such a phenomenal movie. It was one of those very few animated films that I went to see it in theaters and my mind was just blown. It was absolutely phenomenal and easily one of the best animated films of the decade. As for where I would put it in my favorites, honestly, it would be somewhere in my top 5. I'm not sure if I would put it, like, way up there. Like, it wouldn't pass either Beauty and the Beast or Fantasia, but it would be somewhere in that general direction. Again, I don't know where. I would have to rethink of my entire list and see, like, where would I rearrange everything and all that stuff, but I would definitely say that, yeah, I would put Zootopia among my top 5 animated films from Disney Animation. Absolutely. Next up, we got a question from a guy that doesn't know what he is doing in his life. And by the way, don't judge me by saying that. That is literally his name. And the guy asked, hey AniMat, I have a question. Was there a point where you would have received a lot of backlash for a specific video, and how did it affect your channel? Well, that's actually a very good question. I have received a little bit of backlash for some videos, but never to the point that it really affected my channel. Like, it would get some reactions, but there wasn't much action that had been done. I know well that there have been some people who were shocked and appalled by some of the opinions that I would have towards Sony Animation and some of the criticisms that I would have for their movies, or even when I would go a little controversial and go into some political commentaries and would discuss about my thoughts and some facts regarding Donald Trump and the American government and stuff like that. And also, of course, talking about some social issues as well. But again, I did get some reactions, but not too much to the point where there have been like a whole bunch of people that would unsubscribe, or they would stop watching my videos, or I would have like an entire purge on my channel. You know, nothing to the point where it caused major controversy in the veins of Channel Awesome and the hashtag change the channel movement. But there actually was one instance where I released a video and it did affect my channel in a surprisingly negative way. And it was actually one of the podcast highlights that I released, and it was about the mention, I think it was an interview with Ron Clements and John Musker, and they were talking about the possibility of having a princess from the LGBTQ plus community. And I was talking about it, and I was pretty positive, and I stated my opinion on it, saying that, you know, it would be nice seeing it, but apparently, you know, talking about gay issues and stuff like that, that seems to be highly controversial and highly sensitive to some people. Like, that seems to be the one subject that people seem to be extremely opinionated about, down to the point that when I released that video, I ended up losing subscribers, where, like, the number of subscribers that I had actually went down a little bit. It was only, like, around a dozen. It really wasn't all that much, and again, it wasn't really that big of a purge, but it really was that one instance where I innocently thought, okay, I'm gonna talk about a video speaking positively towards the LGBTQ plus community, and let's see what happens. Oh, no. Oh, no. But yeah, overall, that's probably the only video that I had that really had such a major reaction, and it affected my video, it affected my channel in some way. But for the most part, I mostly just, well, almost all the time, I would just get reactions instead of actions. I know that I can easily just speak my mind and I can get a little controversial with my opinions, but that's the most part that it would happen, but nothing too much that would really affect my channel. Okay, so our next question is going to be from Scrambled59, and Scrambled asks, hello, I'm a huge theme park fan, so my question for you is, what is your favorite theme park ride? Well, oh wait, hold on, there's actually more. Outside of Disney and Universal. Oh, come on! Really, Scrambled? The one thing that makes this question so interesting, and then suddenly you gotta throw me this major curveball. No Disney, no Universal? Oh man, then what else do I got? I guess I gotta go into the scraps and go with Six Flags, I guess. Okay, no, but seriously though, the one thing I will say is that other than Disney and Universal, I don't really go into a lot of theme park rides or a lot of amusement park rides in general. The only one that I would really commonly go, and even at that, it's not really a whole lot, since I am a Montrealer, I would go to La Ronde. And I would say my favorite ride in there, and probably my favorite non-Disney and Universal theme park ride, would be something called Vol Ultime, which is French for Ultimate Flight. And you know, one of those rides that, like, you're sitting in a chair or something like that, and it would spin you around, and it's kind of like you're flying a little bit, like you're sitting in a chair and you're flying. You know, like, you know those, kind of like those, advanced swing sets and stuff like that? Like, you know those ones I'm talking about, right? Here, I'll put up a picture to show you what I mean. Yeah, like, imagine those things, but this one actually takes you really, really high. I'm not, honestly, a fan of rides that would enforce, like, major G-forces, like big roller coasters and stuff like that. But that one, I will say, it's really a lot of fun. And even though you go super high, it's actually really nice and it gives you an amazing view. And it does give out the sensation of flying, and I will say it's honestly a really fun attraction, and that's probably one that I really do enjoy the most in terms of the non-Disney and non-Universal rides. Other than that, I'm also a lover of water park rides. Those are a lot of fun. Like, if you have a really cool and creative water slide, I'll definitely do it. So, there's also those ones as well. And finally, we got our last question right over here, which is going to be from Michael Herrera. And Michael asks, are you going to do any more vlog-style reviews after this and your review of Cloudy 2? I presume this was a comment that I took from the Where the Dead Go to Die review. And if I could be very honest, I would have to say no. I don't think I'll make any more vlog-style reviews, or at least in the veins of what I've done for Where the Dead Go to Die and Cloudy 2. I think really the reason is because I'm not too proud of my Where the Dead Go to Die review, even though I didn't have much option at the time, because technically, what clips can you show from Where the Dead Go to Die and you're allowed to put it on YouTube? But even at that, my problem with the Where the Dead Go to Die review is that, admittedly, I have said some things that I did regret about it. And honestly, that's kind of the reason why I don't want to do any more. It's because I don't want to go and say things that I would regret saying later. Honestly, there's nothing in my Cloudy 2 review that I've regret saying. That movie is terrible, and the entire franchise in itself, like the movies and the TV show, deserves all the major hate that it should get, like the Emoji Movie. But in terms with the Where the Dead Go to Die, I will admit that I did go a little bit too far and attacked in areas where I shouldn't attack. So I just want to go and keep it to just a scripted review and do like the regular reviews that I have done, so that from there I can go and revise the stuff to make sure that I can actually see the words that I'm going to say and to make sure that they actually do look good. So honestly, it's more to control myself in a way. So that's why I'm not doing any more vlog style reviews. Not to say that I wouldn't do any more unscripted content. In fact, quite literally, this is an unscripted content as we speak right over here. But I'm just saying that I want to try to separate it from doing my reviews. And if I'm going to do a legitimate review and stuff like that, I'll just go and keep it scripted. So that's honestly my take on all that. And with all that said, that is pretty much it with our first episode of Q&A with AniMat. So I just want to start off by saying thank you very much to everybody who has asked me a question in this episode. And also, I just want to start off by asking, what do you guys think so far? Do you guys enjoy watching this? Do you want to see me answer more questions? And if you do have a question yourself, and if you have an interesting one that hopefully I might go ahead and answer it here, then just write one down and see what happens in the next episode. So with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see you later, dudes!